one stop, a family shop. Think Thayer, come on, let's get rolling. Come on, let's get moving. Think Thayer.
Expectations have been this high for BG hockey in quite some time. How do you think your guys will handle playing with expectations for the first time in a long time?
Well, I don't think they've been this high before, I agree with that, but there were expectations in the past. So I want them to act like we've kind of sort of been there before. We went into the second half of last season 11-3 and ranked and all that stuff, and there was expectations there, and I think we showed that we weren't ready for those expectations the way we played for most of the second half last year. So I'm hoping that this group acts like they've been there before a little bit, but I do agree that these expectations are as high as they've been.
How do you build off of last year's absolute success?
Well, hopefully you build off it by not changing anything. We've got a talented team with expectations, but the success that we've had the last couple of years is based on the lack of success we had 5 years ago. So it's not success to a football. We haven't won anything. We tied for third. We were third alone last year. That was success compared to what we were before. No doubt about that. But we want to make sure that our guys understand that's not the success. That's not the goal of our program. That's not success as we define it. So how are we building off of last year? What we've done from year to year so far is just don't change anything. We think we've upgraded our talent. Now our freshmen know 23 wins. Our sophomores know 23 wins. Our juniors know 18 and 23. Our seniors have been to the league Final Four a couple times. So that to me is how you build on it. That's what they expect. This is what we do here. This is how we operate, which is what we've been waiting for. We're getting closer to that. So how do we build off it? We don't change anything. We keep pushing. We make sure the expectations are something that everyone has their arms wrapped around, which is that daily process approach, which we talked about 6 years ago. So that's how we're going to build off it. We're just going to keep doing what we've been doing.
How much of a factor was the finish to last year and just missing off on the NCAAs, and then seeing the team that beat you end up winning the title? What effect does that have on this year?
It's hard for me to say, John, at this point. I mean, me personally, I can't speak for them right now from an individual perspective. I hope they were as upset as I was. I mean, at the end of the day. But the reality of the story is you just got to get in. You just got to get in. You've got to be one of those 16 teams. I've had a little bit of experience personally with that. You don't have to be the number 1 seed overall. You don't have to be ranked all season long. You have to be in that final 16 when you get to the middle of March or whatever it is. And we missed out by this much, right? And we can go back to 2 or 3 games last year, probably more so the second half of last year. Everybody goes back to the Michigan Tech game in Minnesota. That to me is not the issue. The issue was there was games that second half of the year that we should have won, and we had our foot off the gas. To me, I'm going to say based on lack of experience, and I'll take blame for that, obviously. But I hope they're hungry, but because it's a new year, not because we let something slide last year or let it through our fingers last year. It's a new year for us. This has been a process since the day we got here, and the process is continuing. Part of that process is learning how to win at the level we want to win at. And I think we're going through that. So how much has it affected our group? Well, we're going to find out. Now, right now, they're hungry to hit somebody else. They've been beating up on each other for a month. So it's more to me. That's going to be a story that this season tells of how focused this group is to make that next step, which is be in the 16 and not the first team out.
So I take it that that's not something that you've brought up in the locker room a lot. We're not going to see the shirts with the motivation.
Well, we have the shirt .0002. That's how far away from the national tournament we were. But again, we're watching teams in our league celebrate league and playoff championships. Where's that for us? We want that. That's the type of mentality we want our team to have. Why does it have to be a pairwise thing? We win the playoffs, we're in the national tournament. So this to us, that's the process. The process leads to the results of a league championship, a playoff championship, and hopefully a national tournament. And you know, the day-to-day leads up to those things, right? The day-to-day is what gets you to those results. That's where we are as a group. We need to take that next step. I don't think the last 2 years we were honestly regular season contenders to the end. We weren't. We were a contender in the playoffs because we made it to the Final Four, but a semifinal loss both years. It's time for us to take that next step and be in the conversation for those championships and the national tournament. This isn't just about the national tournament.
Have you noticed a different feel around the country when you go out and recruit or when you're in the hockey community? Is there a different feel about Bowling Green hockey now than there was 5 years ago?
Yeah, but you got to remember 5 years ago, they were talking about the program going away. And not only were they not able to recruit kids, but the kids that they had here were leaving. So it's not even close. Barry and Ty, the two assistants, have done an unbelievable job recruiting. And they're out there and they're bringing back to us that people are saying, that's where you want to be. I'm not sure they're going to have a team anymore. So it's so different now. It's not even a comparison. It's changed for the better more than you can put into words.
You know, not only the program going away to talk, but at the time of the conference realignments, fairly or unfairly, maybe there was some feeling that Bowling Green didn't get treated right and wasn't put in that discussion that it wanted to be in. In retrospect, though, the league you ended up in has been a pretty good situation. I mean, are you ahead now because of what that league opportunity gave you?
I'm not positive. I agree with everything you said. I'm not sure we're ahead or behind of where we would have been had we been in a different league. I don't know. The only concern we have with the WCHA is all the travel, and we have to adjust our schedule on a daily basis, practice time primarily, on that. We're not, I agree with you 100%. The league has probably ended up being better than what the outside people thought it was going to be. I hope that's partly because Bowling Green's back in the conversation. Michigan Tech is doing great. Minnesota State, Ferris State, and Northern go down the list. I think we're in a much better conversation, a much more positive light in the college hockey world for sure. Are we better off as a program because we went to the WCHA 2 years ago versus some other league? I don't know that.
Coach, we talk a little bit about this team. I mean, you mentioned in the conference call last week that it's a lot of things are going to be done by committee. You're not going to be able to pick one or two guys that are, that guy carries us, or
Yeah.
as he goes, we go.
Yeah, the only position, John, that may happen is in goal. I don't necessarily know we have to do it by committee in goal. We did it by committee last year in goal, and it was good to very good. I'm not sure if it was great, but we want it to be great. We've got three guys that we think can fight for it, and that's where this team to me is different, a little bit different than last year. Last year was just the goaltending position that was really deep. I think all three positions now are really deep. I think we're as deep as we've been. We are going to be young in the back end. I think more nights than not you'll see three freshmen in the lineup. But again, we're not talking about necessarily, I mean, other than Matt Ferrari, 17 turning 18-year-old freshman, or 18 turning 19. These are older guys that are seasoned and played juniors and are ready. But I do think our depth is going to be better than it has been before at all three positions. And that's where I feel like we've made some improvement there. That internal competition is going to be high. That playing time fight is going to be high. Guys are going to want to play in the power play and want to be on penalty kill and so on, and they're going to have to bring it on a daily basis to do that. And we can truly hold guys accountable for that based on what they do in practice. So I feel like that brings out the best in kids that are wired a certain way, and we feel like we've got 27 kids that are wired a certain way. Now, does that take away from what Brandon Hawkins is? No. Does that take away from what Mark Friedman is? No. We've got good players. We had a player sign with the Chicago Blackhawks a week before the season. That's not going to be the last time. We got a bunch of these guys that are free agents and they want to play beyond college. We've got good players. And does that mean that, okay, as Hawk goes, we go? No. Does that mean as Mark goes, we go? No. But they are good players, and we think we've got a bunch of other ones. But we are going to do it as a family and as a committee. And that's the way I want it to be. I think that's how you win championships at the level we want to win them at.
You mentioned the goaltending. Is that something that is going to have to play out at this point? There's not been any decisions made there.
No, there's really, we're not going to go in with as strict of a plan as we did last year, where everyone's going to get 2 starts and we're going to go from there. Last year's performance is still part of this year's evaluation. It's still part of this year's plan, and that's something that we're still working through. We have some time yet. There's 3 periods on Saturday, and we'll see how that works out. But we don't necessarily think we need to paint ourselves in any corner. We're looking for the guy. And last year I think we were fine with 3. We're looking for somebody to step up and take this thing, and hopefully someone can.
You said at the end of last year, Tommy was the number 1 guy in goal. Is that still the case going in there?
I think it's fair based on, again, I just said it, that we're using last year as part of the evaluation, as part of the plan going into this year, and Tommy ended the year as number 1. And was that 100% based on how great Tommy played, or was that partly somewhat based on how the other guys played as well? I think that's a combination, Kevin, right? Some guys had some opportunities, weren't able to totally wrap their arms around that opportunity. Maybe, Chris Nell had a great first half and a good second half. Well, you go in based on the end of last year, with Tommy, the senior, being your guy. I know all 3 of them want to be the guy, and I think there's going to be enough opportunity, whether that's games or practice, to show us that they're the guy. We're at the point now where we need our goaltending to be that good, and I think we've got 3 guys capable. It'll just be a matter of who does it.
You did mention a couple of names in Hawkins on offense and Freeman on defense. Who are some of the other guys that you're looking to stand up and lead?
Seniors: Mark Cooper, Ben Murphy, Brent Tate, Jose Delgadillo. Again, people, the Bowling Green hockey program, the thing they talk about is 1984, right? And everyone talks about Gino Cavallini. Well, there was 8 seniors on that team, and you see that group together, right? You see that group in a room, and everybody gravitates to the seniors. And I believe, I'm watching Bowling Green football play, and I believe Matt Johnson's a senior. I'm not saying you can't win with younger people. I'm saying you will go as far as seniors take you. And these seniors are guys that we need to act like they've been there before, because they have. Whether they're the man, or they're on the power play, or they're the starting goalie, we need them to be seniors. And I believe they're capable of that. Ben Murphy, Mark Cooper, these guys have put the work in. Mark had a great sophomore year. Last year was okay. We're looking for him to have a nice bounce back senior year. These are guys that have a chance to play beyond college. And that, to us, is where this starts and stops, the leadership, is that senior group. Are there guys in the junior class? Yes. Sean Walker, we want him as part of the leader, whatever it may be. But those seniors are guys that this group will go as far as that group takes us.